This is the first presentation on the topic of culture and identity. In this presentation, we will explore the meanings of key terms, particularly the idea of culture. Some slides in this and other presentations are from the National Center for Culturally Responsive Educational Systems, or NCREST, which is funded by the Office of Special Education Programs at the U.S. Department of Education. The mission of NCREST is to close the achievement gap between students from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds and their peers, and to reduce inappropriate referrals to special education. Let's begin by defining the term race. Race is a political concept. It is the arbitrary division of humans according to their physical traits and characteristics. As an example, we can consider the concept of race, which is commonly defined as a biological fact with specific genetic characteristics. The Human Genome Project, however, has shown that there is truly no such thing as race. All individuals in our world have similar DNA, and there are no specific genetic markers attributable to any one race of people. Race is a political and social construction with historical significance, as it has been used to justify the enslavement, extermination, and marginalization of specific groups of people. Ethnicity is a complex idea that is defined differently in different nations. In some places, ethnicity is used to describe ancestry, in others religion, language, caste, or tribal group. In this class, we'll refer to ethnicity as a strong sense of belonging that can only be determined by the individual, not assigned by outsiders. Examples of ethnicity are belonging to a religion, belonging to a race, and belonging to a particular national group. Individual members of an ethnic group vary considerably in the extent to which they identify with the group. Some individuals have a very strong identity with their particular ethnic group, whereas other members of the group will have a weak identification with it. Often, culture is thought of as the foods, music, clothing, and holidays a group of people share, but it is actually much larger than just those visible traditions. Culture is a combination of thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, values, and behavior patterns that are shared by racial, ethnic, religious, or social groups of people. Culture refers not only to those that we are born into, perhaps a racial or ethnic group, but also those that we choose to belong to, such as religious or social groups. Culture is not static, it is dynamic. We often move between cultures. A person may grow up on a rural farm, but choose to live in an urban environment. Similarly, one might grow up in a poor family, but become more affluent as an adult and interact with others who are also more affluent. Sociologists and anthropologists have identified many basic elements that are present in our cultural interactions. These elements interact with each other and result in patterns of behavior that are shared. Because these elements intersect with the experiences, the histories, and the psychological makeup of each individual, no one person can be pigeonholed by their race, ethnicity, sexual preference, or any other single feature. It is the mix of these features that individuality and group belonging are forged in unexpected ways by each person. Further, cultural, historical, experiential, and psychological characteristics react with the context in which an individual finds him or herself, further complicating our attempts to put people into specific boxes or categories. Language includes not only spoken and written words, but also nonverbal communication forms such as the use of eyes, hands, and body. In the United States, English is the predominant language. However, many members of our society speak a language other than English. Additionally, we all use different styles of language in our everyday interactions. Language can be formal, technical, or informal, dependent upon the situation and people we are involved with. About space and proximity. Accepted distances between individuals within the culture, appropriateness of physical contact. Shaking hands is seen by some as a very personal action not to be shared by strangers. Others may see it as a customary and appropriate way of greeting. Similarly, in some groups, hugging and kissing upon meeting are standard forms of greetings. Other people may be extremely uncomfortable with this level of contact. Attitudes towards time. Being early, on time, or late. Orientation towards time is very different across different cultural groups. For some, schedules and appointments are a priority. For others, what is happening at the moment matters more than future events. Gender roles. How a person views, understands, and relates to members of the opposite sex. What behaviors are appropriate? It is common in many cultures for there to be different rules governing the behavior of boys and girls. Some of these rules will be explicit, some only understood. Many cultures believe that girls should be nice, quiet, and reserved, while boys are allowed to be aggressive, assertive, and loud. Family roles can be thought of as beliefs about providing for oneself, the young, the old, who protects whom. The age at which a person is expected to become autonomous varies between cultures. In some, children move out of the home and care for themselves in mid to late adolescence, and in others, it is acceptable for a person to live with his or her parents throughout life. Taboos are attitudes and beliefs about doing things against culturally accepted patterns. In some cultures, there is a strong taboo against telling on members of your group, especially to outsiders. Discussions about politics, religion, sexuality, or family issues may be similarly taboo. Another issue is directness. Some cultures feel that it is important for people to ask direct personal questions, whereas others are more comfortable with it. Family ties. How a person sees themselves in the context of family, who is considered part of the family, roles within the family, responsibility towards family members. While some groups value the individual achievement of members, others value the collective actions of the family or group. Group members may feel obligated to place the needs of family or community above their own personal needs or goals. Grooming and presence. Cultural differences in personal behavior and appearance, such as laughter, smile, voice quality, gait, poise, and style of dress. Presence includes one's posture and eye contact. In some cultures, a person's place in society dictates their acceptable presence. Life cycles. Criteria for the definition of stages, periods, or transitions in life. Levels of autonomy at different stages. The age at which children are seen to be mature enough to handle adult responsibilities varies significantly across cultural groups. In many cultures, adolescents are seen as old enough to be responsible for themselves and even for other members of the family. Autonomy, attitudes towards ownership of property, individual rights, etc. This category shows the dichotomy between individualistic and collective cultures. Individualistic cultures support the individual. Personal gains and achievements are worthy goals. Collective cultures support the group, whether that group is family, friends, social class, town, religion, or nation. An individual works to advance the needs and goals of the collective culture. Acting otherwise would be considered selfish. Status of age would be accepted manners towards older persons, peers, or younger persons. Some cultural groups will show a general respect for all members of that culture regardless of age. Others treat respect in a more hierarchical fashion. Younger members are given little respect, which has to be earned, whereas older members are greatly respected. Education, including the purpose of education, kinds of learning that are favored, methods of learning used in home and community. For some, the purpose of education is to prepare students for college. For others, it may be to prepare students for the job market. Some families may see the teaching of students as resting solely with the school. Others may view the responsibility as shared between school and family. Each person has a different combination of thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, values, and behavior patterns. Even people from similar ethnic cultural backgrounds are culturally unique. Cultural groups are complex and diverse. Some ethnic groups, such as Puerto Ricans in the United States, are made up of individuals who belong to several different racial groups. Recognized cultural groups are diverse, not monolithic. While each person has a personal identity, he or she also possesses a group identity. This latter identity is the degree of significance and social meaning tied to belonging to a particular group. This group may be based on race, gender, or the presence or absence of disability, among others. People may act differently among persons sharing their group identity than they would with those whose cultural background varies from their own. It is important to note that a person's group identity may be very different than what others perceive it to be. For example, a person who looks Asian but was raised in a white family may not identify with Asian culture at all. Rather, he or she may identify with white culture because that is the environment in which the individual was raised. Acknowledge culture as a predominant force shaping behaviors, values, and institutions. Why does culture matter? As educators, we are committed to ensuring that all children can learn and achieve to the best of their ability. Often misunderstandings about the role of culture in behavior, communication, and learning lead to assumptions about the abilities of children to be successful in school. An awareness and understanding of the role of culture in the classroom and the different values and behaviors that may accompany culture can remove unintentional barriers to a child's success. Thank you.